Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. You know, first off, thanks to everybody that came through on the Cash App, and I mean that from the bottom of my black heart and from the depths of my black mind. The last donor was Brother Johnston again. And let's see, I think that one came in at midnight. The funny thing is my phone actually alerted me with the sound at midnight my time. But I slept a little bit better afterwards. So in any case, I ain't gonna lie, I'm exhausted AF now, but I'll see if I can get to bed a little bit earlier tonight. I wanted to tell you all this about why this title is as it is. I've realized what is the proof that sisters are more colorist than black men. And that's two things. Number one, sisters are more colorist than anybody else on the planet. Number two, I've talked about what I know of gender-based colorism. And I've known that when you are an abundantly melanated brother, you don't have it that much easier. What happens is that you are still negatively stereotyped in certain ways. Pardon the wind noise, but I'm going to turn the AC up because Riyadh right now, even though it's not even 8 a.m. as I'm recording this, Riyadh is above 90 degrees already. It's hotter than armpits in Alabama in August. It's hot. You can tell that sisters are colorist more than anyone else because no matter what I talk about, no matter what I describe in terms of what I know, and I've known that abundantly melanated brothers are also negatively stereotyped in certain ways. It's just that those ways are seen as manly. When I describe it, brothers that are honest come in and say, well, over here they want light-skinned brothers. And they're not lying, so what does that tell you? It tells you that whichever side of the spectrum on which you fall, you're going to catch hell for being on that side of the spectrum. What it tells you is that there's not a right complexion to have unless there's something else about you that is so easy for them to disparage that they don't get around to your complexion. That is the right complexion. What's the right complexion to have? Big ears. A nose that's too big or too small for your face. Less education than her. Something else she can hold over your head so that you get the impression that she made an exception for you, doing you a favor being with you. That's the right complexion to have. What is the wrong complexion to have? You ain't white. Do you see where this is going? I rarely tell you, brothers. I almost never say that we should say that only black folks X, Y, and Z. I usually tell you that we black folks are not that unique in our suffering or even in our dysfunction. And so therefore we should avoid saying only black folks. But there are a few exceptions. One of them is what I'm going to point out to you. And I'm going to ask you this. What other race of black men, regardless of individual complexions of the men, have to see their women and wonder if he has the right complexion for that counterpart woman selection? In general, women are more colorist than men across societies. That's the first thing. In Ethiopia, the women have been colorist for a while, the men have not been. In Somalia, the women have been colorist for a while to each other, usually in the form of jokes, not real hatred, not so much the men. The women have even not preferred lighter skinned men in Somalia, but they don't feel like you lost by getting one. So in general, in many societies, women are more colorist than men. Western sisters are the most. Some will say, well, in Africa, they don't even want dark-skinned men. They love light-skinned men in Africa. Well, for one, that depends on which part. Number two, the fact is that doesn't mean they don't marry and respect and cherish husbands that are abundantly melanated. That's what one of the differences is. Western sisters have it in for brothers that are abundantly melanated, and they got it in for brothers that ain't. And in this regard, they are unique, and they've given you, Western brothers, a unique experience. Edward Allen Anderson has said this, but this came to me after I saw a comment underneath my last video addressing some colorism, gender-based colorism. We black men know when we see sisters that there's not some biological link in between her complexion and her femininity. It's a psychological link. We've been knowing that. We would be dumb for suggesting that there's a biological link. We would rip each other up for saying some dumb stuff like that. You see where I'm going? Who's out here telling sisters that there is no biological link between a man's skin tone and his masculinity? No one is telling them this. So therefore, since that's what we're facing, I don't think we should really even debate anymore when sisters say that black men are colorists. That should be the end of the conversation just for foolishness. I've always thought what Edward Allen Anderson said, that when brothers are colorists, they don't learn that from their dads, they learn it from mom. I know my childhood enemy from my old neighborhood had colorist tendencies, but I began to realize that they weren't his, they were his mother's. I think his mother may have had these colorist tendencies because of something she dealt with growing up. Because she grew up in Louisiana. I think she was Creole. Yeah, had some serious, she'd been through some stuff. She'd been through plenty of stuff, from what I could gather. And she really didn't hate anybody of any shade. She just simply did not want anyone of a dark complexion with her son. I don't think she had that same issue when it came down to who dated her daughters. When it came to son, she did not want a son with a woman darker than him, and yet and still, that's actually who he was with most of the time. My close friend, Pinky's his nickname. I think his mother went through something similar. She described it, actually. She talked about some of the stuff they did to her, but she never told us why they did it. When I think about it, she had green eyes, naturally red hair. It was the same thing. She didn't have a problem with her daughter dating an abundantly or medium toned brother. That didn't bother her. What bothered her was when her son Pinky had a girlfriend that was abundantly melanated. And I think it might have been because these ladies might have heard some of the things that women said about them and their siblings, their male siblings or their dads. That might have been it. When I think about it, maybe I need to go ahead and start asking. I would say this, look, let me tell y'all this, honestly, to the paler skinned sisters, if you were ever bullied about your shade or your phenotype, go ahead in comment section and tell us what you heard them say about you and about the men of your same description. But from here on out, brothers, I think we should automatically dismiss as delusional any more who sit up and talk about the colorism of black men as opposed to that of sisters being more. I hope this helps. Thanks for listening. Black Heart, Black Mind, Blackout. Assalamu alaikum. Black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it. Black patriarchy until extinction of Judgment Day. Thanks again for flying with me on Jet Black Airways, where Jet Black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with me till the wings and the wheels fall off. Don't forget to punch the Cash App on your way out of the Jet Black aircraft. Only for amounts that are small to you. Gender justice forever.